Good morning. It's Lisa Miro. It's February 21st. And when I started the idea of the legal convoy, it was to hopefully inspire lawyers to speak up at a time when our democracy is most at need. And we have some legal cases moving forward. And I really want to applaud all the lawyers from the JCCF, the Civil Liberties Association, and Jason Kenney. Way to go. I'm a big fan, Premier Kenney, of what you're doing and actually following you closely. I really appreciate what you're doing. Also, Scott Moe, just thank you for being the first premier out there. So today's post is about the Canadian banking system and how much it's at risk. And just to lay it out there, because maybe the elites in power, in business, the business leaders aren't fully connecting the dots. And so I've spent a lot of time thinking about this, and so have many, many other people. But let's talk about the idea of a retroactive crime. So that in and of itself, a retroactive crime, is abhorrent. It actually defies all morality, right? The rule of law, right? The idea that you possibly have a crime that you didn't know was a crime. Now let's look at the crime itself. The crime itself in this instance is donating to a cause, right? So that does not, absent some evil intent that I don't otherwise is not proven or not part of the crime as we see it, donating to cause would not reach the threshold of morality to even pass the law review stage in order to get it to a criminal code provision. It would not, right? Let's go to 101 law. And I just wish I saw all kinds of professors out there. And I wish I just saw the deans of law schools. And I would just wish I saw the Law Society and the benchers up in arms. I just wish I did, right? So a retroactive crime for something that's called donating to a cause that you believed in. Both of those things, abhorrent in Canada. Now, let's also look at the fact that there's no due process, right? So it's not beyond a reasonable doubt. There's no threshold, right? So it doesn't come with all the constitutional protections that criminal defense lawyers need to have in a criminal trial. It does not come with any legal representation. It does not come with a finding of guilt. It does not come, therefore, with any sentencing proportionality. So would a judge say, is this your first time donating to a cause, or have you donated to a cause before? You know, did you buy Girl Guide cookies? Have you bought Girl Guide cookies in Canada? Maybe. Oh, there's my dog. Every time oh, just crap. No Nutella. So, a sentencing lawyer or and sentencing submissions would look at mitigating factors, right? Do you mean you won't be able to feed any of your kids? And how about the proportionality, right? Does the sentence fit the crime? So you donated 500, 100. So are we seizing 500, 100? No, your whole account. Everything you've worked for as a hardworking person, right? All of that in terms of the criminal justice system and in terms of the justice system, if it's not rubbing lawyers the wrong way, right? We wonder how we can, and we have committees for this, improve our relationship with the public and why they don't trust lawyers. Right now, ask yourself what that could be about when thousands and thousands and thousands of Canadians are protesting week after week in huge volumes, and the lawyers are silent, and the law schools are silent, and the benchers are silent, and the law societies are silent, right? And the big firms, right? Well, that's where the important lawyers are. That's where the real thinkers are. Where you go? where y'all are. You're posting your arbitration awards, right? That denied somebody employment for a mandate, right? For not doing a bleep that is immaterial because transmission is the same, right? That's what you're proud of. That's what the big firms are doing. Some of them. Where are you, lawyers? So now bankers. How would this be viewed in the world? So before you want to invest in a country, the first thing you're going to look for is it run by a dictator? Because if it is, I'm not going to open a mine there. I'm unlikely to want to invest. Do they have the rule of law? Or is there such thing as retroactive crimes that allow monies to be seized? Do they have democratic institutions like courts? Do they have due process? How is their banking system? Is it secure? If not, I am unlikely to invest in that country. So how did Canada in 3 weeks and 2 years of Mr. Trudeau get here? Right? Where we don't pass the sniff test of even the Congo. No offense to the Congo. Right? Pinochet. How easy is it to ruin a democracy? We're witnessing it with complacency. No, stop. Stand up. Right? If you are someone of influence, I clearly am not, but you might be. If you are someone of influence, you make those phone calls, right? If you're in the large firms, if you're a bencher, if you're on the bench, if you're a CEO, if you're a banker of consequences, pick up the phone, call your MP. If you have influence as a union person, right? Call the NDP. Because what I've seen of Jagmeet is so offensive to me that he's not acting like an official opposition party at all. Well, he's not official, but he should be acting like an opposition party. And that he is allowing, as a lawyer who understands what the rule of law, what morality is, right? Who has a legal education, what he's doing with the Emergencies Act. It's visible. We see it. We see it. It will not, what you are doing to your party, who are of the people. I come from a small pulp and paper town, right? I knew my neighbors by the truck they drove. You know, my mom hunted partridge. So what are we doing in the world? In terms of our banking system, we're ruining it. Now let's look, is there going to be a bank run on, a Canadian bank run? I don't know. But let's look at what we're doing to the banking reputation with Canada now. So who supports the trucker movement, right? It's such a large movement. Who did we see? So was it maybe small business owners who suffered and maybe lost almost their shirts or all of their assets through the pandemic restrictions, right? Is it the moms who had so much school insecurity that they had to sacrifice their career? Is it the working class? Is it the West, right? Is it Quebec? For sure you've lost the West and Quebec, and that they will be looking at this kind of legislations and the banking, the reputation of the banks. Is it conservative voters, right? Is it former NDP voters? Is it the youth, right? Who are getting their information from an alternative source to the CBC, CTV, and Global News? What is that anymore? What is that? It's like Netflix, right? It's all fiction. Or close to it, right? Is it Army vets? Right? Is it Aboriginals? Right? That was a full Mohawk woman that was trampled by the police. Right? And the Ottawa police puts up this tweet that someone threw a bike. Right? When it's all on video. Right? And by the way, he said no army, but what looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck. I'm having roast duck tonight. So if this emergency act passes Parliament, we are damaging the reputation of our courts, our judicial system. We are damaging the banking system. The idea that you'd want to invest, like, never mind tourism, you want to go to Ottawa, anybody? Come to the Canadian National Capital. So I think that if you are someone who can influence this vote, and if it's already too late by the time this video goes through, who can influence the Senate, it's time to make those calls, right? We've entered dictatorship territory. And this is crazy. Thank you for listening. Like and share my post. Go Truckers.